Hey, everybody, welcome so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us for a special DBC Inc. Facebook Live. And it is one of our favorite kind, and that is a book birthday. And so as you are joining us, please throw your name over in the comments. We would love to know who's here with us. So throw your name over in the comments. Let us know where you are watching from so we can interact with you. And I have a very special guest with me this morning, and that is the brand new author of the latest book from Impress, The Leader Inside, Lauren Kaufman. Lauren, thank you for joining us this morning.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. And thank you for everybody who's joining the book birthday today. I can't believe I'm sitting here saying that.
Yes, and so this is like we already have our first guest. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's Cheryl. She's my first friend ever. We've been friends since we're, babies.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and joining us.
The first comment you pulled up. That's so special.
Yes, and we have Paul. Paul, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Paul. Paul's amazing. I don't know if I'd be sitting here if he, didn't give me an opportunity years ago. Megan, oh my gosh.
They're pouring in. Megan Lawson, a contributor to the project, in fact.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Megan, love you. Love you so much. Big hugs. Oh my gosh.
Jillian is here. Oh, they're all pouring in.
Oh my
Susan,
gosh, that's my
mom. Joining us.
My mom is here.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. I see Stephanie is here. Who's this guy? I noticed that there's wait, where is he go? There. Oh, Sean, the Pepper Effect. Sean Gaylord, good to see you. Thank you for
Sean
being here.
Gaylord. Big hug, Sean. Big hugs. Oh my goodness. Hi, Phyllis.
This is they're rolling in.
Hi,
and so I'm going to be throwing some more of these comments up on the screen as we go along. We really appreciate you being here and joining us, and for throwing your name over in the comments. Thank you so much. And so, Lauren, first of all, from me and from everybody at Impress and Dave Burns Consulting, congratulations on this. This is probably a bucket list item for you to write this book and have it out into the world. And so how does it feel to be a brand new author?
I don't know. I mean, the feeling is still really surreal. And I have to tell you, Dave, I think I told you this last week. This actually was not on my bucket list. But, it became, there's Principal L. Hi. It became, I started blogging like 4 years ago, and I didn't know when I started blogging, and that's a whole long story about how George Couros actually inspired me to blog. And that was 4 years ago. And I didn't realize that blogging and stringing those blogs together would really become the book, which became The Leader Inside, which is kind of like part one of my journey now, because as I was rereading the book over the last couple of weeks, I was like, oh my goodness, this was part one, because I've blogged so much more since then. And I've shared so much more of my learning since then that I was already thinking about, oh my goodness, there's a whole other piece of the journey just waiting there. But, this is a really special moment, because this is really a collection of people and experiences that have led me to this moment today. I could not have done this alone without the incredible mentors and people and experiences on the trajectory of my career who have brought me to this moment. And I really credit every interaction, whether it was favorable or unfavorable on my journey. It has made me into the person I am today, and I am beyond grateful for that.
Yeah, and so that's an important step for a lot of the authors. And I know George has done that for many people, encouraged them to get blogging and started with that. That's something that's kind of one of his superpowers, is getting people to get started with their writing and blogging. And when you put your message out in front of the authentic audience and you see it resonate and see it, people pick up on it, and it's just so encouraging. And that's, for me, that was a big step for me too, is that a lot of my book is drawn from my blogs. Like I have little sidebars and things in my book that were drawn from the blogs. And it just gives you a chance to see like, okay, hey, this is something that people want to hear more about. and it gives you confidence to dive further into that subject and to share it with the world. So I love the fact that your journey starts with blogging.
Yeah, Dave, and I'm thinking about your book right now, Teach Like a Pirate. I mean, what a masterpiece that is. And when I do write and when I do blog, I think about all of the amazing authors and books and podcasts and articles that I have read over the course of time. And I have a little trick in my smartphone. I actually use the notes section and I title each book that I read and each article I read. And you're in there, Dave. Your podcast and your book, you're in there. And what I do is every week I kind of look at my learning in my smartphone and I say, okay, what did I learn this week? And I string a bunch of ideas and quotes together. And then I think about what have I seen this week as I'm reflecting on my learning as an educator and a leader that kind of connects to this idea. So it's kind of like unwrapping this present. You start with, here's the research. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's a story. Oh, it's Lainey. Hey, Lainey. Another amazing contributor to this book. Yes. I could not have done this book without Lainey. I just had to stop. She has been amazing. She was even texting me like late last night, like, now it's time to do this, Lauren. Now it's time to do that. And I'm like, what can I have done? Oh, there's my Aunt June.
Aunt June. Hi, Aunt June.
Yes, there's my Aunt June. So, it's really like, like I said, it's unwrapping a present, of my learning. What have I learned this week? And sharing a story and then thinking about, this is how it worked for me in my world. But how can it work for you? How can you take this story, this piece of research, this idea, and apply it to your practice? And that might look a little bit different for you. And that's exactly how this book was actually written. Like, here are all these ideas. Here are all these stories. And I'm big on stories. I feel like when I'm reading different books, I really connect to story. I connect to metaphor because it makes it real. It makes it relatable. Research is great and theory is great, but what does that mean to me? How can I connect to that? So a lot of this is all about weaving together the story, the research, and practice. And what does that mean, for the readers in your world?
Right. Absolutely. And when so many people have joined us, thank you so much. We've gone international. Nick Rope from Winnipeg is here.
Oh, hey.
Author of Phenomenal Teacher. And again, Lainey, thanks for joining us. And I saw Laura. Laura is here joining us. Thank you so much, Laura, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure I'm missing many more as the comments are coming in and pouring in. But I love the fact that incorporation of stories is something that we think we kind of specialize with Impress and Daybreakers Consulting Books, is that real authentic personal touch. And you're not just going to feel like you're reading a textbook or a doctoral dissertation or something like that, but like that storytelling. Stories are persuasive, they're emotional, they're powerful, they draw you in, they hook you. And so that weaving of storytelling through the books is something that we love to do, and it's something that you've done so masterfully. So, I agree with you. That's a powerful part of any book.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, it's really important to surround yourself around people who really lift you up and who can see the best in you. And I think that's our job as educators, as human beings, as leaders in the educational space. I always say in my writing, if you work in education, you are a leader, no matter what role you serve in. A big piece of this book is, how do we recognize those gifts in others? How do we notice and name them for people so that we can set them on a trajectory of a really long and meaningful career? Because this stuff is hard. Education is hard. Every day is not always easy, but it's extremely gratifying and rewarding. I like our friend, Megan Lawson says, it's in the small moves that make the big impact. And I saw a quote that she had posted this morning from the book, which was kind of similar to her sentiments about the small moves, big impact. It's the small wins that add up to the big things. Sometimes it's so hard when you have so many priorities to move forward. It's so hard to think of all of those big things, but when you really look at those small moves that happen in between, that's what adds up to what's important, the big things.
Yeah. Or as Megan, her chapter title is Mosquito Moves.
Yeah, right? I love it.
There we go. And so, by the way, I see where let's let me go find this again. Oh, so Sean says that his book is arriving today, and I know someone else who has the book arriving today, and that is you. And so that's always such an amazing moment when you get to open up that package and to pull that book out and to hold your own book in your hands for the first time. A lot of people are kind of surprised to hear that sometimes the book actually goes live and the author has not even actually held the physical copy in their hands. And that is the case for you. We went so fast right at the end to get this out that your book is arriving today. Is that right?
That's right. We had a lot of conversation over the course of the week. Paige kept texting me. Paige Kuros kept texting me like, "Hey, Lauren, you know about the hurricane in Texas?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." I mean, it's so relatable because I'm in New York and we experienced Hurricane Sandy in 2012, and I understand what it's like to lose a lot of things, to have a power outage. These are real life things. So the book was sitting with Liz, the designer, and she's like, "Liz can't get it over back to Paige because of this power outage. But these are," and I said, "Look, as long as everyone's okay, it's going to be okay." And it was amazing because the book actually loaded into Amazon, and Paige like texted me the next morning, "Lauren, it's there," and I couldn't believe it. I think I was looking at it like all day. It was pretty cool to see. And one day later, not a big deal, but I ordered it immediately with the secret link we had yesterday. I ordered it like 20 copies, and Paige was like, "But we're going to send you some copies, Lauren." I said, "No, but I have to get these copies to certain people, to people who took time to endorse my book, to the contributors." And I'm just so excited to see it in people's hands. I mean, I feel like I've been the one over the years and will continue to be supporting and ordering everybody's book and reading it and sharing. I think for me, on this journey, I feel like when I say noticing and naming things in people, I like to also do that for people and message them and say, "Hey, I just read your book. I love this line." That's incredibly exciting to me to do that for other people. So it'd be interesting to see what will resonate here.
Yeah, for sure. And so I was just about to mention this, and that you have something in common with Lainey. Lainey could tell you lots of stories about the behind the scenes of book publishing and all that. And so what people don't see, what happens when these books, you just see it show up on Amazon and we announce that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is so important, so critical, and it can be wild sometimes. Lainey has had a situation where she dropped a book and then had the COVID pandemic hit and the whole world shut down. She was about to drop a book, and literally a tree collapsed and fell and collapsed the entire house of our publishing team. They were almost killed inside the house. And then now your book comes out and a hurricane hits and power goes out, and it was in interior design, the last few steps, and she could not access power in any way in the Houston area, which of course is a much more serious thing than a book. But fortunately, sure. Like these people, our editing team and the people that work behind the scenes to pull these books off, they are amazing. They're incredible. And she was able to get to a power source and pull this to the finish line for everybody. And so thanks to everyone behind the scenes. And speaking of that, is there anything in particular maybe that surprised you about the process of, you wrote your manuscript, you turned it in, and then what people don't know is how much goes on from that point forward? Were you surprised at the editing process, or how did that go for you?
Yes, every stage of this process was such a surprise because, writing a blog is very different than writing a book, right? Because when you write a blog, you can publish it, you can go back into it and maybe change a word or two. But I think that through every stage, you really start critiquing your work through a very different lens. And you want to make sure that it resonates not only with yourself, like, is this the message that I'm trying to convey to the readers? And then bringing in those other voices was important to me too. So I wanted to ensure that the messages from the contributors were kind of, we were weaving this tapestry, like this beautiful story together, but I wanted it to feel a little bit different coming from them. I really do believe that when I read books, I think it's very cool and interesting to bring in another voice and another perspective. So I wanted to ensure through the process that their voices came through the way that they had intended. And then it was a little bit grueling, the part with the references, because I now learned, Dave, that when I do a blog post that I should put the page number to the quote, because I was going on these scavenger hunts. I remember I had like 2 full weekends where I was going on scavenger hunts for quotes in books. And I know a couple of author friends gave me some tricks like, hey, you can buy the book on Kindle and do it that way. And then sometimes miraculously, like I open the book and there's the quote right there. I'm like, how did this happen to me? Where I just opened the book and there was the quote.
Right.
So like that part of it was really interesting. And then also just all of the whole revision and editing process. What was really surprising to me in a very good way was that when I got the book back initially, I thought there were going to be a lot of changes made to the content of the book, but there weren't. I was like, I felt really good about that. Like, okay, like this book is really what I had initially intended it to be. And everyone agreed, I guess. And It's okay if you disagree. I was just pleasantly surprised about that. I mean, there were a few like structural things to move around, things like that, but it was a true learning experience. And I am just grateful for your team from start to finish. Everybody has made me feel very calm and capable. And I love that.
It's fun to, what the best case scenario is, and what we always say is that the voice is so important to us. We want the author voice to be center and to really be emphasized and to have the author feel like that is maintained. And so when the book comes back, we want it to feel like it's, oh, this is just what I wrote, but maybe just a little better, like a little, just strengthened a little bit here and there, but that you still feel like you're reading of course, your own words in your own voice. And that's, I think, what happened with this case. So it's fantastic. I have a couple questions for you about the book. First of all, Lauren, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it's called The Leader Inside, but this is not just for someone in necessarily a leadership position. This is for anyone in the school system is going to be able to benefit from this book. Wouldn't you say that the audience is very wide for this?
Yes, that is true. So it was very wonderful to have my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Linda Roth, contribute to this book. She's my mentor right now, even still, to this day. And the leader inside means that we can discover the leader within from a very young age. And I tell some stories in the book that really convey that message, how important our words are, how important our relationships and connections are, because you never know that the impact they're going to make in the future. And as I mentioned earlier, if you work in an organization, you are a leader for kids. I don't think there has been one role I've ever served in where I didn't feel like a leader in some capacity. Because every role is so important. As a matter of fact, when I was leading my classroom, that's a very important role because you're touching the hearts and minds of kids and you're the closest to kids, in the classroom. That's where the real legacy is, in my opinion, with the kids in the classroom. There is not a kid, I don't think, that can't name their most favorite teacher, right? That they've ever encountered because they spend so much time with that person. So that's important. And I tell a story in the book how when I was in 4th grade, my teacher made me feel like a leader. And that's really how it was born. My parents were educators. I'm the only administrator in my family. So I have big love for educators because I just know from growing up, seeing my parents and the connections they had with their kids and the work that they used to bring home and how much they cared was so important to them. So this is really for educators and leaders alike, because it's really on embracing this path of discovery of who you are as the leader inside, and that it takes special people along the way to recognize that in you. In your journey. So I really think this could speak to educators, aspiring leaders, current leaders, not even if you're not in education, I think it would resonate with you to some extent.
Yeah, for sure. And this is like, one of the things I wanted to emphasize is that because it's called The Leader Inside, don't think that this is just an admin book just for the principal or anything like that. This is a book that's really going to be for everybody on the campus, anyone in the school site. Great book study book, spark great conversations, and just encourage mentorship across the whole system. I know you have some fantastic endorsements, including Principal L, who's in the comments here. Thank you so much for your endorsement. We love your work and appreciate you, so thank you for that. And I know also that you've been influenced strongly by Jim Knight. So I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about how maybe Jim Knight has contributed to the project as far as your thinking.
Sure. So one of the most powerful roles I've ever served in was being an instructional coach. Kudos to all of the school districts who value instructional coaches, because I feel that when I served in this role, I had learned the most about what it means to come out of your classroom, see things from more of a macro lens, and to be able to look at best teaching practices and cross-pollinate those ideas. So while I was living that role, I used a lot of Jim Knight's work to really inspire my practice, to learn from him, among many others. So his principles of coaching, which I talk about in the book a little bit, have really grounded who I am as a leader and who I'm continuously aspiring to be. So with Jim, he grounds everything really in relationships and working side by side with teachers, that it's not like you are in charge of anybody in this role. And that's very much the way I approach leadership now, is really through a coaching lens. And I write a lot about that even when I do observations in classrooms, I think the teachers are getting a little bit used to me, because I'll stand right beside them and I'll start coaching in. What are you thinking right now? I'm seeing an opportunity right now to lift the level of this practice. So anyway, Jim gave a beautiful endorsement for this book. And the story about Jim is that he wanted to have a phone call with me to talk about the book. And I immediately got very nervous, Dave, because for me, I've been following him for years. I was like, oh my gosh, Jim Knight wants to talk to me on the phone. Okay. Okay. And then I really have to tell you, I told a couple of people who are actually here in this call right now in this Facebook Live, I was like, oh my goodness, I think I was babbling a little bit on the phone with him. I think I need a better elevator speech for this book. But it was really like that little girl coming out in me, of people you look up to, and
a fangirl moment.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a fangirl moment, but then he just kept saying to me, well, good luck on the book, Lauren. I can't wait. And he was just so kind, so humble, just like talking to a friend, really, when I look back on it.
Yeah, I have, I respect Jim's work quite a bit. And of course, he's one of the godfathers of instructional coaching and has such powerful work in that space. And I remember one time I was on a plane and I was sitting on the aisle, and the person on the aisle next to me, he looked over, he said, Dave Burgess, whatever. And there I was, I flew next to aisle with Jim Knight on a plane one time. We had a nice chat, super nice guy. Yeah. So
actually, I remember him talking about you in the conversation. He says, I know those pirates over there at Burgess Consulting. Tell him I say hi. I think I might have forgotten to tell you, but I'm telling you now. Jim Knight says hi.
Yep. We took a plane flight together. We just didn't know that we were going to take a plane flight together. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So and I noticed Sean popped in here. Sean has given a wonderful endorsement for the book as well. And if you want to hear Lauren talking about some of these ideas, I'll give a shout out to Sean's podcast, The Principal Liner Notes. And I know Lauren, you've been on there and had some cool episodes on there. So you can check out Lauren and Sean chatting about some of these ideas. And and so we would love for you to go to Amazon, pick up a copy of this book, read this book, and we would also love for you to share your learning. this is one of those things where we want this conversation to continue. A book is not the end of the conversation. We see books as this beginning, the start of a conversation. And so as you get this project in your hands, first of all, we would love to see a picture of it on its arrival. We always love that. The hashtag is the leader inside. So all together, the leader inside is the hashtag, and tag us. And then as you are coming across things that really resonate with you, we would love for you to share it in social media and really kind of start a community and build a discussion online about this project. And so, Lauren, if people are looking to connect with you on social media, where are the best places to reach you?
I think the best place to reach me is at Lauren M. Kaufman, and that's on X. You can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. So those are the places that I've been frequenting a little bit more. I know there are so many places on social media. It's hard to keep track of all the places, but that's the best way. And then my website is www.laurenmkaufman.com. You can find everything I'm pretty much doing there in terms of my writing on that website and the book. So yeah. I see that.
I see Sean says the principal liner notes one drops Monday. Perfect timing. So check in Sean's podcast. You'll be able to hear the discussion with Lauren. Here's the hashtag, the leader inside. Make sure you use that in your social media posts so that we can find them nice and easy. And what is this? You surprise people with your pronunciation.
Yeah, well, you have to remember I'm from New York, right? So most people not from New York, or Long Island, I should say, Long Island, New York, would say Kaufman, but I say it Kaufman. That's how I say it, Kaufman. But so what's that?
So that probably resonated with Nick because I said her first name wrong for like 3 years. So
that's okay. That's just that's how I say it here. But if you say it a different way, I'm okay with that. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So again, pick up the project. We are so proud of it. We are so proud to share this message with the world. Lauren, again, congratulations on putting this amazing book out into the world. And now the fun part starts because now you get to see and have a big impact and get to see people chatting about it and talking about it and bringing it back into their school system. And eventually, of course, what's most important is influencing students and kids and really building strong and powerful schools. So thank you so much for all the work that you put into this.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Please know that I am eternally grateful, and I really do mean that. Thank you to everybody here. And thank you to also, the people that I've met along my journey. A lot of you are in here right now. Thank you to the people I currently know and the people that I'm destined to meet. Thank you to you too. So.
Yep. Thank you everybody for joining us, for taking a little bit out of your Saturday morning to be here to celebrate Lauren's book. So The Leader Inside, Lauren Kaufman, officially out today. And we couldn't be more excited about it. So thank you, everybody. And again, Lauren, thank you not only for writing this book and sharing it with the world, but also for joining me this morning.
You bet. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.